just in general, what can we all get on the same page about liking this movie?
Tom Cruise is killing it in those little black boxers.
I was gonna say the same thing, but I wasn't gonna be the first one to say it.
Like, dude, if I look like that at 60, I want you to film something with me too.
Exactly.
Like,
Is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning a mission worth accepting, or is this one that we should let self-destruct? We'll find out in this episode of Eat Sleep Nerd, because we are reviewing and discussing the latest Mission Impossible film, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Let's get right into it. I'm Corey Winter. Joining here, we got Jason, Cynthia, Josh, yeah, I'm powering right through, and Christian.
Remember.
How you guys doing?
You do realize that even if you accept the mission, the message still self-destructs.
Okay, you know what? I was going for the joke.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
see, I would have asked the audience if they choose to accept to listen to our review.
Then
Corey, I
just
liked
say
it.
no and click
Thank
on it.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it, but it was also flawed.
Speaking of things that we like and is possibly flawed, this movie.
Nice. Nicely
This
done.
movie,
Nice
yes.
segue.
Nicely done.
Yes.
Are we spoilering or not spoilering?
So I'm thinking we're not going to do a two separate video thing like we have been doing for like Marvel movies. I think we just kind of make it a spoiler-free discussion to start and get our reviews and stuff,
Okay.
the scores, and then we move into a second half where we do the spoilers.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sure you'll put a disclaimer flashing
Yes.
in large letters.
Yes, I will. So,
Watching Tom Cruise's.
yes, if you're not aware, there's a new Mission Impossible film out in theaters now. It's The Final Reckoning, possibly.
I would
The last-
find it impossible not to know it.
Possibly the final Mission Impossible film to ever hit theaters. If you're not familiar with how Mission Impossible is done in recent films, once Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol came out, it was just nonstop hit after hit. They all have been ranking in the 98% and up on Rotten Tomatoes. Dead Reckoning Part 1, the direct prequel to The Final Reckoning, currently on Rotten Tomatoes has, I believe, a 98%. So this one should have
Solid.
been right there. It was filmed back to back with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, shared the same budget. So theoretically, we should have just carried on what was happening in the first one. But let's find out if we agree with how good the first one was, if this one is a good follow-up. So, looking at our Dead Reckoning Part 1 review, we gave it a perfect 5 out of 5 here on Eat Sleep Nerd. It was Josh,
As it should have been.
Christian, myself. So, let's just kick it off. Let's do scores, and then justify your score by giving your overall spoiler-free synopsis of how you felt about the movie. So, who wants to kick it off?
I'll do it.
All right.
2.75.
Higher than I thought it was going to be.
Wow. Mm.
All right. Do you want to go ahead and tell us why?
How about we go around and do our scores first, and then
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Cynthia.
He has
We'll
a
just
hot
go
take
around
Come
here.
back to
somewhere.
me. I'm processing.
Okay, Josh. I'm going to go last. Spoilers. I'm going to go last.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Interesting. Okay. Christian.
I'm also at a 4.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
3.5.
3.5. This is an interesting spread. I'm at a 2.
I have.
Oh, wow.
I have
I'm
my
at a 2
reasons,
out of
though.
5.
I need to
Wow.
do my explanation though, so I mean,
Okay.
we will. But
Guys, this was not a Mission Impossible movie.
I don't know.
Like-
The mission was pretty impossible.
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
It was pretty improbable.
I was so upset coming out of this movie. Like 2
can
hours.
confirm.
First of all, it was a 3-hour movie and it should have been like hour and a half tops. This was like, there was a scene right there in the middle where it was getting into like act 3. It was like a half-hour long scene where no one was talking. He was just groaning the entire time. Could have been 30
Yeah.
seconds.
That-
Could have been 30
I
seconds.
think to quote you, after we left the movie and we're driving home, I was describing that scene, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I fell asleep for a little bit in there."
I was bored in the first 2 hours of this movie. So like there were no action scenes.
I don't know if I could have cut it down to 90 minutes, but it could have been a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
Easily.
Definitely, yeah.
I will say, like you said, they filmed them back to back, or like at
That was the
concurrently or
plan.
something. I can tell that they had the same budget.
Mhm.
I think
It was definitely a highly produced movie.
it was
Like,
the
budget was
production
not wasted.
great.
Yeah.
There were some parts, like my score was so high being 3.5, because I've seen 3 of the Mission Impossible movies, and it's still like those are really the only action movies I've seen. So it still has all the novelty for me. I will agree that like that didn't feel in my expert opinion of having seen 2 others, it didn't feel like the other Mission Impossible movies, but it wasn't bad. Like, I thought it was a good movie, but I was also excited for it. I'm not sure I would want to watch it again.
I won't.
And if I did, it wouldn't be anytime soon, because now I know how much was unnecessary. So, like, to make myself sit there and watch those extra long scenes again that I know how they end, and I know that a lot of it just did feel like filler. I'm not sure I would sit through it. I would definitely skip a little bit and be like, go back to the part where he's running. Go back to the part where he punches somebody. Go back to this part. And I would skip through other parts. But my score was so high because it still has the novelty for me. I'm just getting into action movies and Mission Impossible. But
We're doing John Wick next. Get ready. Because we
got
got to get ready for Ballerina.
So, like, I will admit, part of my score, probably a full point of my score, is the novelty of action movies from my personal
Yeah, so
venture.
for the first 2 hours of this movie, I was bored out of my mind. There were very few, if any, action set pieces. It was they were spoon feeding you information from past films just nonstop. Even them giving him the mission briefing at the beginning of the movie, the classic part of him getting the mission assignment, was spoon feeding you like 5 minutes worth of story from the very last movie that you should have seen already. And they were actually like explaining things to Ethan that he would have already known. It was so weird. And it just kept happening for like the first act 1 of this entire movie. They just kept telling you things over and over again that you should have already known in the most layman terms possible. And there was no suspense. There were needless character deaths that didn't make any sense whatsoever. And things that just had no purpose being in the story. And when we finally got to like the one big action set piece at the end of the movie, he didn't really do any fighting. He was just kind of hanging on for dear life the entire time. So like, I don't know. It was a waste of a movie to me, and nowhere near as good as the past 4 films.
Josh,
Oh,
finish.
one more thought. Sorry. This is a big one. So when Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol kind of soft rebooted the franchise, they introduced like the Simon Pegg characters where it was a little bit of a comic relief. There was barely any comedy in this film, and the comedy that there was was trash. Like it was worse than the worst of Marvel comedy.
Like, can we talk about, that's not a spoiler describing that scene at the beginning.
I would go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like at the very beginning, like right before the credits open the movie, and what's her face is standing there just like making all these faces
when they're held hostage.
as he's like beating all these people up, and she's just making faces. That went on for like 10 seconds too long, to the point where I was like, oh, this is supposed to be funny. They're having a comedic moment. And then I was like, this is getting really awkward. How long is this?
Initially, I thought it was
come on.
funny, and then it was like, okay.
Like they had all the Foley sound effects.
Yeah,
and it
they
was
were really bad.
It was so out of character for the Ethan Hunt character. Like he doesn't beat people up like that.
They
like,
were really
he'll
bad
kill
sound
him, but he
effects,
doesn't
yeah.
like. I don't know. It was so weird. I interrupted you, Christian. I'm sorry. Please.
All right. Yeah, it was definitely long. But what took it out for me, I guess it was like a lot of the filler was just people staring at each other
Yes.
the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was so much staring and like just like mental communication between all the characters, and it was like, what's going on? Like, what are you saying to each other? I don't know.
There were like 2 moments where that was funny. Like
Yeah.
there were some comedic parts, but it lost the effect after the first couple.
Definitely. Like it. I know the direction they were probably going was such as to make it way more dramatic and things like that, but it's like we've already been through that. It's fine. You did it once, cut it out. Like just keep going. And yeah, like the scene y'all were talking about, all the grunting and things like that. I mean, that was the suspense part for me because of the environment that he was in.
Mhm.
And but yeah, it could have been less time.
Yeah.
But I mean, as you say, as you score sometimes, the enjoyment factor, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. See, that's what. So yeah, my score is usually just an enjoyment factor, not really critiquing like quality of the film or whatever. I was not enjoying it, so it was a 2. Like, I enjoyed like maybe 5% of the movie.
We were in the parking lot, and he was like, that was so bad. I can't wait to talk about it.
We weren't necessarily going to talk about this, and then Corey's like, "We have to talk about this."
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it was like
Yeah.
midnight, and you were texting. You were like, "We got to record tomorrow."
I had feelings, guys. I had feelings. So I haven't really heard from Josh and Jason yet. So who wants to go next? Remember, spoiler free, and then we'll get into spoilers.
I liked it. I don't see what the problem was.
That's right. I gave it a 4.
Like I mean, yeah, it could have been tighter. To me, its biggest drawback was I feel like maybe originally this wasn't supposed to be 2 movies.
So that was my thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they split it in the most logical place to split it, but then realized that the second movie didn't really have enough to be a movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they stretched it out as much as they could.
Yeah.
Because
But with that, why did it end up being a 3-hour movie? Like,
the last one was a 3-hour movie.
yeah, and it had substance.
I'm just saying that's the reason why. Is the last one was 3
Because
hours.
if
So
they're
this
gonna
one should be
have
3 hours.
a 2-parter.
You can't have
They have to
a
be-
lopsided.
They have to
Yeah.
be symmetrical.
The second
Yeah.
one cannot be shorter than the first movie.
So I still say it would have been better to have a tight conclusion.
Mhm.
But no, I mean, I had fun. I enjoyed it. Like Christian said, yes, let's just call it what it was. The submarine sequence. I
Mhm.
mean, like we know that's where he's going. That's not a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
we've known that
It was in the
for a
trailers.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it was a little long, but like that whole sequence stressed me out.
Oh, I was.
That was the most stressed out I've been
Yeah.
in a Mission Impossible movie.
It was tense. Like
So-
it went on a long time. but it was
So
tense.
yes, it was too long. It did legitimately stress me out.
I will say
Um,
there was one part towards the end where I was like, my heart was beating. Like, oh, that actually got me going. So, I mean, yes, there was definitely some suspense in there.
So
that's-
and yeah, the sequence at the end was him mostly just hanging on, but like I couldn't do that. So
I mean, he did punch him
I
one
was-
good time.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
there were also things I really, really liked about it. I liked Palm getting promoted to like a member of the team
Yeah, that was cool.
and like being in the entire movie. Love her.
Yeah, she was good.
I think this was one of the better Mission Impossible teams as far as the roster goes. Like I liked it a lot.
I have thoughts about that.
And yeah, no, I mean from a cast standpoint, from an acting standpoint, I thought it was great. I had fun.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying there are things I wouldn't change, but that's also why I gave it a 4, which for me is like a 2.
Well, Jason, in a rare occurrence where you and I actually agree that something's bad, somehow I'm actually thinking it's worse than you do.
Yeah.
Justify your score.
I would say that the first thing that just pops out, 2 of my favorite scenes from the movie, Tom Cruise was not a part of in any way. So I think that says a lot to why my score is like it is.
So you need more Tom Cruise?
no.
We all
Well,
need
yes.
this.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, not in this movie. I agree with you that the movie could have been tighter. In fact, I think Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning should have been one movie.
Mhm.
100%. Like this movie to me was so bloated
Mm-hmm.
with stunt scenes. Like the stunt scenes that they had, they all went on too long. Also, there were a couple times where certain characters should have died and they didn't. It was beyond the logic of the movie for me, and I'm just like, nope, this shouldn't have worked. Twice. And then the exposition. There was so much exposition.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, it was that was part of the bloat. So you had a lot of bloat with exposition. You had bloat with the stunt scenes, and then 2 of my favorite scenes did not include the main character.
I'm sorry you're upset that he's willing to share the limelight.
I knew
I
that's
think
coming.
like kind of in the same vein, I think the biggest drawback of this movie was going into it knowing that there's the potential it was the last one.
Yeah.
I think they tried so hard to make it the big dramatic ending that it kind of destroyed itself in that way. Like it was, they tried a little bit too hard with some of the things. Like some of the scenes just went on too long.
Mhm.
Like the planes, it was cool. It was a big point in the movie, but like
There were parts where they were literally just spinning around.
just like they're just
You're right.
just
And,
flying.
and we watched Dead Reckoning the night before we watched this.
yeah, so it was still fresh.
Dead Reckoning was so fun.
Yeah.
Like I love that so much. The comedy was perfect in it. The chemistry between all the characters was great. So I really went into this movie with some really high expectations because it was supposed to be the follow-up, like a direct follow-up to this. So
And Cynthia and I watched Fallout. I've seen it multiple times, but I finally introduced her to Fallout. I think 2 days, it was earlier this week as well.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen 4.
There
I've
you
seen
go.
4,
She's seen
not
4,
3.
guys.
I'm so proud
She's
of
seen
myself.
4. But Fallout's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It was great.
So yeah, following up Fallout and then Dead Reckoning, which I also love with this movie, just it fell flat. It fell flat. But I have lots of thoughts, but it'll be easier to talk about them with spoilers. But I think one last non-spoilery thing, I think a big part of it that was just kind of an overarching thing with the film is that it got to the point where they've kind of made Ethan Hunt a god character, which kind of takes you out of it, because the whole point of the Mission Impossible team and Ethan Hunt is that he's just a normal guy. Yes, he's skilled, but he's a guy that just knows how to get things done. But now all of a sudden he's this godlike character that can do no wrong, and they're trusting him with the being the savior of the entire world.
Literally.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
Except that they don't, though.
Some
That's
people do.
actually the plot of the movie, is that they don't.
Well, the people that
I'm just saying
make
your
the
logic is
decisions-
flawed.
The president,
Literally one person trusted him.
yeah, the person that would make that decision.
Okay, so that was good for him.
I see both sides, ladies. I see both sides.
Well, all of that said, the official Eat Sleep Nerd score. So if you're not familiar, we all give our individual scores as we have already, and then we average them all together to give us the overall Eat Sleep Nerd score out of 5. Decimals are allowed. Jason? So our official Eat Sleep Nerd score, a 3.3 out of 5.
And how does that match
With
the critic and
Oh.
audience scores?
Love this question, Jason. So right
Yes.
now, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is actually the lowest, second lowest in the entire Mission Impossible franchise.
Mission
It's
Impossible
currently
2.
at a 79%. Yes, it's beating out Mission Impossible 2. So 79%. It's actually fallen since I saw it earlier. Audiences are a little bit more favorable. It's a 92%.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, 79%, while the past 4 films in the franchise were all in the 95 and up. So
I haven't seen the second movie. How much better is this one than the second movie? Because
there's no slow-mo.
I'm about to say the second one is better because the bloat is just it being in slow mo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It'd be like
It was
an
right
Aquaman
after The
movie without
Matrix.
slow-mo.
Like, it is-
Woo!
I want to watch it now.
His hair is better in this movie.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
a
was
deep
gonna
cut.
say
Thank you
Wow.
for getting it.
the first
Oh.
spoiler.
Honestly,
has long hair.
honestly,
Obviously a spoiler.
the hair factored into my score a little bit.
It did.
I didn't like the longer hair.
I do not like the longer hair.
I really wish Tom Cruise would only ever have the Top Gun haircut.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's how he looks best.
It looks so good in Dead Reckoning Part 1. Why would he grow it out?
They have
It's a
to
direct
show
sequel that
Well,
takes
they
place
had to show that
he's
months had
getting
passed.
older.
No one
2
else
months.
looked different.
2 months.
And his
Yeah.
hair grew so much.
Right.
Well, that's just Tom Cruise.
All right, I think that's as far as we can go without spoilers. So let's get into it. Spoiler warning here since
Yay.
4th. What? Here,
What?
Here
Wow.
since fourth.
henceforth.
No, I like
No.
what you said first. Here since fourth.
Here since 4th. We got spoilers. We're going to talk about what actually happened in this movie. And talk about some of the reasons why we didn't like it, and maybe some of the reasons we did. So,
Tom Cruise should have died twice in this movie.
okay, let's talk about the deaths and
Oh,
the
yeah.
non-deaths.
This one.
The very beginning. So we had just watched Fallout and Dead Reckoning, and we sat down in this movie, and in the very first scenes when they go and see Luther and he's making the poison pill, and he's wearing scrubs and there's a hospital bed, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't redecorate. This isn't the Ritz-Carlton or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And then they show him with like the oxygen mask. I was like, "What did I miss in the earlier movies that?"
Nothing.
like,
Came out of nowhere.
I assumed the entire movie. I was like, oh, having only seen the 2 before this, I'm missing something that they're bringing back because he's obviously about to die. Like they're setting up for it with or without context. But I was like, oh, this must be something from an older movie that I haven't seen
Negative.
that they didn't bring back. And we were walking out and he was like, no, they straight up just put that in there to make it more
There was
heart-wrenching.
no reason.
No
That
reason.
didn't add
And-
to
and
the
they
story in any way.
And they didn't explain anything about what was happening to
Yeah.
him. It was
Yeah.
just like he's obviously
Yeah.
sick because he has an oxygen tank in a hospital bed. Like
It's
nothing
a
else.
pointless plot point.
Which would have been more forgivable, except that the immediate predecessor was a 3-hour movie that if you just needed this to be a plot point for some reason,
Yeah.
you could have dropped that in there.
Like it was
Yeah.
so out of place that I genuinely wonder if they cut something out of the last movie.
Or out of this one.
Or out
Or
of this
out
one,
of this
yeah.
one, like if they
Yeah.
were going to make it a point and they were like, it's weird enough, he dies soon
But, like,
enough, let's just leave it
Well,
in.
that's the thing. Like, even if it was cut, the explanation for why he was sick, it didn't factor into his death whatsoever.
At all.
Yeah,
No,
you're right.
He would have died either way, even if he was
Yeah,
perfectly
exactly.
healthy. Yeah.
And he said he had to go underground to work on stuff. So him not being part of the field team made sense.
Already, yeah.
Like, they didn't need to make up a reason for him to not be in the field.
Yeah, that's I still can't
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
To me,
reasoning
that was
for
the only illogical thing in the movie.
And what's his Ving Rhames?
Ving
Ving
Rhames.
Rhames, yeah.
He has the meats.
He has he's the only one besides Tom Cruise that has been in all Mission Impossible
Mhm.
movies.
Yes.
And for him to go out so, I'm sorry, I felt it was unceremonious.
Mhm.
In such an unceremonious way, I think was a slap in the face to the actor and his character.
Yeah.
That
He
check
should have been
cleared,
the
though.
one of the ones that
Helps.
made it to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a throwaway character from the first one that makes it into this end movie.
Yeah.
That
Which was
made
cool.
it
I
beyond
liked
Ving.
that.
Yeah,
I
that was
liked it
kinda
so
cool,
much.
yeah.
And I called, like, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, dude, they're doing a tie back, and I loved it. That was one of the scenes I liked
Mhm.
more because it meant something. Like, if you had been along for the whole ride,
Yeah.
and you recognize them, you're like, they said they were going to send him to the farthest. This is the farthest place. This is hilarious. This is great.
I'm mad about the plot hole for Luther. I'm not mad about the way he died.
Yeah,
I think it fit the character.
Yeah,
Like
that
being,
was
Oh, yeah,
okay.
that's fine.
I mean, it was unceremonious, but I think that was
also kind of the
exactly
point.
fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Die in the shadows. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like, I mean,
They
If
said the
somebody-
speech like 4 times.
Live and die in the shadows.
if
I get
somebody's
it.
gonna die in an
Get it.
action movie, it needs to be in a blaze of glory,
But-
and that wasn't. But also, I think that part fit the character. But
But they let Benji
What?
stay, who I like very much.
And he
But they
should have
didn't let-
died because
Oh,
he
he
was
shoulda died.
like,
yeah,
that,
he was bleeding out for a very long
No,
time.
he had palm. He was fine.
wait,
that was also anyway. That was my second favorite scene.
Yeah.
Was when he's telling Haley Atwell's character and Palm's character, he's doing 2 different surgeries
Yeah.
at the same time.
that was
That was actually really good. I enjoyed that very much.
that's
Yeah.
the part where
Yeah.
I was I was sitting there like
I thought we
ugh.
were going to lose him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
Yep.
Guess
Honestly,
That was
I'm
a good
surprised
scene,
more people didn't die.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of a, not from like a they should have
right.
thing, but just from this does kind of feel like it's probably the last one.
Really thought they were
with
going to
with
kill
all
Tom
the
Cruise for a
callbacks to
minute.
the past original films, it
Yeah.
definitely feels
Yeah,
pretty.
it's
final.
like, here, remember all the things that we've been through. It's brought us
You've
to
been
this.
watching
And they
these
keep
movies
saying
for
this.
30 years.
And they kept saying
Yeah.
it. Everything that's happened has brought you to this. Like, that's kind of like to the audience.
and like
It's like the graduation song of movies.
Yeah.
and like
I
they
will
were
say-
they were explaining things that had never been explained before. Like they finally told us what the rabbit's foot for Mission Impossible 3 actually was.
That was cool.
Yeah, so like they're definitely closing all the threads. So that definitely feels like the final movie.
I will say for the spoon feeding of the last movie, like the one right before it, it was tied in as somebody who has not seen the earlier ones. Like I appreciated how they were explaining everything from the beginning on, even though that means they did re-explain Dead Reckoning as well. I think that was a little overdone, a little over-explained, because like it's not just the movie before this, like it is the first half of this storyline. I think they over-explained it, but also I think it was probably just to tie it in with everything else they were explaining to wrap it all up. It
So-
was a little overdone, but I think there was
Well,
a point to it.
It was so blatantly just recapping for the audience that it took me way out of it because they were even explaining it like it was the president that was giving them the mission briefing, which was cool because she was the CIA director in Fallout.
That
So it's
feels
kind
right.
of cool that
Yeah.
she kind of like got that promotion. But she was giving him the mission briefing, recapping the way things are as they usually do in the mission briefing. But she was like, and Ethan, you took the key and you went into hiding when you should have brought in. It's just like she's telling him stuff that obviously he would know because he was the one that did it. So like just the way she was explaining it was so forced.
Exposition.
Exposition.
Okay.
It was awful.
Expose.
Okay.
Awful is a
I'm-
strong word.
It was awful.
It was awful. And I picked it up like even in the beginning. I'm like, if this is how the movie is going to be, it's going to be a very slow movie.
Mhm.
And it was. Even when he was in the cocoon, the entity cocoon, it was exposition.
The
Mhm.
entity.
And he's just
cocoon.
laying in there.
Ugh.
Like, it was like,
Name of my ska band.
and then they're like, you'll come out different. He didn't come out different.
Yeah, he was shook for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, he was
Well,
like,
and it was
"Is this
like-
real? Is this real? Oh my god!"
And it was like fake shook too, because
Yeah.
he still wrote down the thing for Benji and
Yeah.
handed it to him as he was like
Yeah.
freaking out trying to. run
So
off,
it's
which was
like,
so
so he is of sound mind enough that he didn't come out different. So you're right. He's like superhuman in this movie. He survived. How I don't understand how he survived the sub thing. Not so much because he was in the sub, but the amount of depth that he quickly traveled up and down.
He definitely should
He
have had the
should've
bends.
Died.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like he should have died.
Yeah, but they had the super special decompression chamber.
But
which
he took
apparently
off the
seats too.
suit and he went down rapidly further than he was already down. He should have been crushed essentially. He
It was a
should have
special
died.
suit.
He took it
He
off.
took it off.
Yeah, he's fine.
Anyway, and
It
then
was the undies.
and then
It was the
and
undies.
then they're like, well, he will probably drown before he gets to the center or back up, but you'll be able to the hypothermia will slow everything down.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'll suspend that. But even then, it was just, I mean, the way that they filmed it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the artistry of it, of him like laying on the ice upside down. I thought that was pretty. That was gorgeous. Completely unbelievable. Also, I think he should have plowed into the ground when he fell from the plane. And his parachute burned
That
up.
part.
Jason has the
actually
thing where
took
he
me out of
always
the
wants
movie.
the main
So I knew you were
characters to
gonna say
die.
So it is. I mean, and parachutes do have backup parachutes.
But
So, I mean,
that should have had a backup. And how the hell would we know that? Like they should have set that up. Like
And that's-
these packs have a backup.
Even
Yes.
knowing that parachutes have backups, when his first parachute was on fire and he's trying to put the poison pill in the thing, and then they cut away from it,
Yeah.
and then he's on the ground just fine, and you see the white
Yeah.
parachute, the backup. I was like,
Bullshit.
I was like, okay, I get it, but
Jason just
Did
doesn't
I-
agree with that reality.
it took me out of it for a second as
Yeah.
I had to realize, oh, they did do that, and no, they're not going to explain it. Now I'm back in the movie,
Yeah,
but like
you're right.
it fully took me out
Yeah.
because like that's the big moment where they want you to think that he's about to die,
See,
and then they're like,
right.
"LOL, JK."
And I don't want them to die, but it has to follow the logic of what the movie's doing.
It took me out.
Yeah. My brother and I were talking about Maverick and how we both agree that Maverick should have died when catching the missile for Goose's son. Like that should have been how he went out based off of the trajectory of the movie. And then, like, even it being a Top Gun movie, even it being over the top, it was great up until that point. And then the whole like recovery scene and rescue scene after that was just utter unbelievable in that story.
But how else would they have gotten him into an F-16 one more time, Jason?
I don't know. You have writers these days. Anyway, so it was it felt a lot like that to me. It was just.
Well, I'm sorry
the
you don't like that
trajectory of the
every
movie,
parachute has a
the
backup parachute.
So, I mean, I'm not a parachutist. I don't know, but skydiving rigs will typically have a reserve chute, but other types of parachutes, such as ones used in base jumping or by pilots, might not have a reserve.
I think it was.
But it is a
That
common
was a
thing.
small. It was a small pack. I'm sorry.
Typically, they're stuffed in there pretty tight.
I think
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
wanted to make it the big dramatic scene, they obviously couldn't show, oh, by the way, there's a backup parachute, but just the hard cut and then he's on the ground just totally fine and no explanation. Like,
He was limping a little bit.
He
okay.
limped.
I'm sorry. Why not give him 2 broken legs? I mean,
why not kill him?
Kind of sounds like you just wanted to
like,
kill
I was
Ethan.
thinking-
Hunt.
I was like, oh my God, they're actually going to make him go out like doing this final thing. Like he's tumbling through the air, trying to get the damn thing in the pill with the box together. He finally does it and he sacrifices his life to do it. Like he sacrifices his life for the world. I'm like, holy they're going to do it.
But then we wouldn't get
And
the
then they-
next reckoning.
But you know what? I think the
The
reason
final reckoning.
the final reckoning too, Electric Boogaloo. I think the reason that scene bothered me was because I was disappointed that they took the cop out. Like, if they're gonna get so close to killing him and then make it not happen, I want it to be more dramatic than that.
But isn't the point of the movies, though, that you should not survive? But he does anyway? Like,
but
isn't
they
that the whole
explain
catch?
it.
Feel earned.
But they explain
you,
it.
yeah,
That's it.
Again,
But
that's
they
the
didn't
logic
explain
of
it.
the
It was
movie.
just like backup
I don't-
parachute. You see it fluttering in the distance.
But that's what it is.
Because, like, in
I didn't
though.
like
going
that
back to Fallout, when he was fighting with Henry Cavill on the cliff, and like he gets the thing at the very last second, it's believable because you at least saw him in the process of climbing.
So
up the
really,
hill.
you just don't like that you didn't see it.
Yes.
Like give
Just-
us something.
yeah. Yes.
Give us
That's
the
it.
trajectory.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
you have
what I'm
a cinematography issue.
That's just what I say every freaking time. Every freaking time, that's what I say. I have never not said that.
Okay, but you're arguing that the logic doesn't work. The logic
That's the
does work.
No, it
You
doesn't.
just don't like
No.
that you didn't see it. That is literally what you're arguing.
It's the same argument.
It isn't.
The logic.
You're arguing that it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. That's the cinematography. The
it
cinematography
does, though.
is part of the story writing. The story is visual as well as audio. You have to tell the story. If you're missing it in cinematography, you don't have it in the logic of the movie.
I think the point was to have a reveal that he survived.
Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire should have died.
Christian, how you doing over there?
I'm enjoying myself.
Christian's on my side. I can tell.
Peter Parker got brought into this. That's fantastic.
This is where it started.
Who knew that Mission Impossible would be the film that broke us apart as a team?
But yeah, I think that's the part of the suspense there.
Yeah.
Is from the submarine scene, and then you're like, oh, good, he's falling from the sky, he does the thing, and then it goes with somewhere else, but he actually is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Like, you knew he was gonna get the pill into the thing. You knew it. We were watching for the lights as Simon Pegg is dying, and she does the thing, and then the glowy thing, which, by the way,
No, my God.
He's gonna cut it anyway.
I'm gonna cut it.
I wanted to eat it.
You should keep that. You should keep that. Why did you want to eat it?
Did you see it? Like, it was just this little
She's
thing that was
weird.
glowing, and it looked so crunchy. It's like the Tide Pod thing. I've never eaten a Tide Pod, but
Maybe you should cut this.
like,
No, I don't understand this at all.
It looked like crunchy rock candy, and I wanted to eat it.
Stay
It
on
was
topic.
glowy. This is my topic.
So did this add to your score or deduct from
It added a
Okay.
decimal. Yeah. I wanted to eat it.
But yeah, the suspense.
Eat the
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Like, yes, not a lot of people know that there's a second shoot. That's where it's suspenseful. And if you look in the scene, he's still in the sky by the time he goes to the clouds, and it
Okay.
cuts.
Okay, let me ask you this.
We are picking apart this.
Let me ask
so
you
much.
this.
Ask.
So, getting ready to obviously trying to save the world. He's doing his final act to make sure that the plan goes through. How much more satisfying would it have been if he'd sacrificed himself at the last second with no parachute to save the world?
So much more satisfying.
Because that's what James Bond did, and it was pretty freaking satisfying in No Time to Die.
I would have loved to see, and just in the sake of art, not that I would love to see Tom Cruise playing it, getting killed off in a movie, but to have him like in a shallow crater where he just plowed into the earth,
Jesus.
laying on the ground.
Nope, this is
just-
weird.
Just having,
Yeah.
just having the completed, disc in the hand, and just laying there like doing a death rattle, and just alone, and no one around, and it being sad and desolate,
Dying in
and
the
that's how he
shadows.
finally passes.
I think you just like it when the main character dies.
No, I want it to follow logic. If
You know what
it-
I wanted to
it's-
happen? Like what I thought was going to happen, and if I had written the movie, what would have happened? So after Gabriel gets his face smashed in,
Jesus.
Oh, that got me.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
and then
Whoa.
flies off into the thing, I would have edited it faster. I would have edited it faster so that Tom gets the pill into the whoozy what's it, realizes he doesn't have a chute, and he has to dive out of the plane to catch up
I
to
was
Gabriel's
wondering if he was
body
going to do that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was
and
wondering-
take the
yes.
parachute off of him mid-air.
That's why I
That
imagine
would've
that's
made
going to happen.
sense.
Yeah.
that would have been
would've made
sick.
Yes.
That would have made it better.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. I would go for that
Yeah.
if he lived out of that.
Let's get
So,
Tom Cruise on
back to
the
what Josh was saying, or how he said something, is that
phone. Edited
It's-
Edited.
it's not about logic, it's about story.
Right.
I mean, logic doesn't change how things happen or how it should have happened.
Sure. Okay. Yes. To a point. For me, and I think we've discussed this before, there's a logic created for each movie that it's its own universe.
Mhm.
The logic, they built a universe where certain logic can be suspended, where there are rules and policies that kind of are developed by the creation of the story that work, like even if it's not realistic. It's like this will work because of the logic and the universe of this movie. This is the logic that I'm talking about that's missing. I'm saying for what they crafted, the logic for what they crafted doesn't align.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. The logic. I'm not talking about real life logic. Like if there was real life logic, Mission Impossible 1 never would have made it out.
It's
I
called
mean,
Mission Impossible.
it would just been like,
you
oh,
literally
it
are
would have been.
supposed to
It
suspend-
never would have happened. I mean,
But
just
then
real life-
again, like
yeah.
we've seen so many things. Like for example, him on the Burj Khalifa, him when he tries to jump back into the window.
Yeah.
There is no way they should have caught him. There is zero chance.
Yes.
All three of them would have fell out the window.
Yeah.
See, and
But that I feel like that's in the same vein
Yeah.
is the same as the parachute shoot as
Nah.
we've seen. Because it's like there's no way he probably should survive, but he does.
so that scene that you're talking about didn't work for me in
Mm.
the Khalifa Tower, whatever that is.
The Mia Khalifa, yes.
Yeah. Which I think they tightened everything up so much better in Dead Reckoning. It was just a really solid, fun movie. And there was nothing really that took me out of that.
Man, you've got to watch Rogue Nation. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but the part that you're talking about, it did take me out. The
Yeah.
logic didn't work for me.
It just didn't break for me. I was perfectly fine with that.
We're talking so long about him not dying.
Yeah. Or
uh,
dying.
What happened to the rest of the movie?
Right.
Yeah, what happened to the rest of the movie? So
I mean, we pretty much covered it.
we've covered a lot of this stuff.
There
really have
wasn't much
covered-
else,
We covered
honestly.
most of it. So one other death we haven't talked about in the movie, the Nick Offerman character, the general.
Oh yeah.
That one felt
Weird.
It felt weird. It felt like they wanted us to feel really bad about that, but like they didn't give us any time to actually care about the character.
Oh, see,
They
it,
didn't care about him.
it was okay for me though, because they were kind of building it up to be the one who was going to maybe do something foolish, and instead he ended up saving the day.
See, I never
I
felt like they were.
get that.
Yeah.
I followed that too. But
To
I
me,
wanna know why.
I felt like he was being set up to be in a position where when the president doesn't want to do it, he was going to take that gun
Yeah.
out and force her to do it.
Mm.
And
I felt that
instead,
as well.
he saved her and prevented that exact
Right.
situation from happening.
I wasn't sure how I was supposed to feel when he died. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure what they were going for. Like how I, as an audience member, I wasn't sure what they were trying to make me feel. with
Like
his
to
death.
me, it felt like they were trying to make it be a character that has been in a couple of movies. So like we had time to establish him as someone that we cared about. But it felt like he had like 5 minutes of screen time and like, oh, he's dead.
I didn't
Oh.
feel like I was supposed to care about him. I felt like it was supposed to be a twist to what I thought
A
was
red
going
herring?
to happen.
Mm.
Yeah.
I also will say that, Nick Offerman is a great actor, but
Love
he has one face.
Mhm. He has
So,
one
This one
face.
didn't have a beard.
That was my thing.
I
He should
think that
always
was
have
it.
at least a mustache.
Right.
I think that was
Yeah.
it. But yeah, for me, he just has one face, and throughout all of his lines, he's supposed to have some like dramatics.
His
to
brows
it.
don't move.
Yeah,
His brows are always
like
straight.
it's always like this, and it's supposed to be a little bit more expressive of what he's talking about, and then he just kind of dies. I'm like, okay, cool.
He
Yeah.
has one
Move along.
face.
He does have one.
He does have one face.
He
He's
does.
not
I
wrong.
get it.
What were you going to say for the death?
So I was wondering what prompted him to get the sergeant's weapon. Like why
I
so at the end we found out that felt he was going to have to protect the president. Why did he think that?
Well,
That seemed odd to me.
I think to Josh's point, I think
Yeah.
he just saw that something bad was probably going to happen, so he wanted to be prepared.
Maybe. I don't know. But
And as
I
an
don't-
officer in dress uniform, he doesn't have a sidearm on.
Right.
So
Right. So yeah, I mean, it was cool to see him, but his best scene was on that late night show clip where he pulled off the mask. For
Yeah,
me,
I
that was
think
the best
so.
Mission
I was
Impossible scene.
I was expecting a much bigger role,
Yeah.
considering he was
Yeah.
the one doing the late nights for this movie. Like,
I mean, I like seeing him in it, and he didn't play it poorly. It just, I think it was written a little weak.
oh, there is one character I want to talk about that wasn't even in this movie, and I was waiting to see how this movie would play out before I really judged the death in the last movie. Rebecca Ferguson's character. I always forget if it's Isla.
Isla.
She died in the last movie.
Right.
Spoilers.
Isn't
And I-
Ilsa?
Ilsa, yeah.
It's a
And I kind of thought, okay, that was setting us up for something bigger with
Haley Atwell's character.
Yes, thank you. And
Grace.
really, she
Grace.
just took her place.
Yeah.
And so, like, the death of Rebecca Ferguson's character in the last movie didn't really feel like it needed to happen. Like, why did we replace her with Haley Atwell?
to motivate Ethan.
And and you guys pointed this out. Ethan Hunt has a freaking type.
Yeah.
when they showed the women that were close to him in this series, the murder that he was framed for, I couldn't tell if that was Rebecca Ferguson, Haley Atwell, or some other actress.
Wasn't that Femke Jensen?
And then
It was a long time
Rebecca
ago.
Ferguson, and then Haley Atwell, and then the wife.
His wife.
That
I
he saw
got
off in-
lost a couple times.
I mean, I
between
I
them.
tracked, yeah, but they look so similar. And so it really, when I remember seeing the trailer and for Dead Reckoning, and I thought that Rebecca Ferguson was in the car with him during the chase scene in the trailer, but it was actually Haley Atwell because they look so similar. I also want to say I'm so smitten with Haley Atwell. Oh my gosh. She was, I don't gush, but oh my God, she was so pretty in this.
She is very pretty. She's very pretty.
My lord. Anyway, okay,
My
moving
lord.
on. My lord.
All right, so we've been ragging on this movie a good bit. Obviously, Christian and Josh are defending it a little bit, but just in general, what can we all get on the same page about liking this movie?
Tom Cruise is killing it in those little black boxers.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
the same thing, but I wasn't gonna be the first
Yeah.
one to say it.
Like, dude, if I look like that at 60, I want you to film something with me too. Like,
Exactly.
There is
homeboy looks good. Good for him.
his actual physical stunts and physical work, believable because he looks like he's in excellent shape.
Yeah, he does
Like,
not
yeah.
move like he is 60 years old,
62,
and he doesn't look like
62.
he's 60.
Well,
Yeah.
what's funny, because at the end of the movie, when he's like walking in those pastures, you can see it in his face. It's like, man, I am 60.
Honestly, he should have a desk job at this point, though. In the IMF,
I don't think they have desks.
I mean, if he's still getting the
he
job
should
done.
he should have Kidrid's job. Honestly,
All right. So,
Okay.
any other positives? We're actually somehow already at an hour. We've had some feelings.
I really enjoyed the throwbacks.
Corey had some.
I did.
Corey.
I really enjoyed bringing the guy that was working in the knock room from the first movie.
That was great.
I love bringing him back, and I love the fact that he was at peace with it. Like he was okay with it. I like that a lot. I kind of like that they made what's his name John Voight's son.
Yeah, I actually just brought him up.
Shea Wiggum.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of out of the blue, but I'll take it. But they didn't really resolve it, honestly.
This is John Voight's son?
Well, no, in the
movie.
He was
from the first movie.
I
what's
was
his
like,
name?
excuse
John Voight's character's son. There we go. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So that was kind of.
I was okay with it. It didn't bother
It
me.
was okay, but
Yeah.
I think it could have been rounded out a little better. But I did like the tiebacks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that.
Do we
Yeah, I
think
wanted
it's
the
last
guy-
one, though?
From the chamber. What is his name?
Harry Potter, Chamber of Secrets. Oh, sorry, my bad.
from the knock list.
Yeah,
What's his character's name?
Don
Dunlow.
Dunlow.
William Dunlow.
Yeah.
I wanted him so bad to be like, so, hey, Ethan, who's that chick that made me sick that all those
Oh,
years?
right.
Like,
Oh.
what? Where's she at? Oh, is she dead?
I
Okay,
bet,
cool.
I bet you he didn't even put that together.
Good.
Yeah, good.
I just got that. Yeah, man. By the end of the first movie, gone.
Yeah,
Good.
gone, bro. Yeah, you're fine.
That's funny.
That's Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Is it the last one? Yes or no?
I can't decide.
I think it's the last one. The fact that it was doing all those callbacks to the
Yeah.
first three movies.
Better question. If they made another one, would you go see it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like by that time, Tom will be 67.
I think it probably was the
He'll look
last one. Like
45.
if they were definitely going to do another one, I think they left it open to
Yeah.
where if they put another one out, it would be like, okay, I can see that. But they also wrapped it up so well at the end, like showing all of them and they're smiling and they're moving on and they're literally
That
just
was a
walking
weak
into
ending.
The distance.
That's how
else would
most
they
of
have
them
it
end.
all, though?
Yeah.
They all end like that.
It has to
didn't.
be kind of ambiguous unless because they're not going to be like, this is the last one. We're never doing it ever again. They're going to leave it a little open.
So they at the end of every single one, they always go their separate ways because
Yeah.
they don't stay together when they're not doing a mission.
Yeah.
Like they go and hide in their shadows.
Yeah.
They only come together when there's a mission. So like that's always kind of how they do the goodbye.
I still think he should have gone off with Grace. Honestly,
I don't know.
walked
Mm.
No,
in
'cause-
Grace's direction.
Because in character, he
He would not
ever
do that.
since his wife, he wouldn't put anyone else in that position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I didn't know all this. I haven't
Yeah.
seen those episodes, so I don't know. To me, it seemed weak, but maybe it's because I haven't seen all the other ones.
I think
I wouldn't go see another one. It's kind of like, okay, like I read that they're making a Lethal Weapon 5 right now with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. I love the Lethal Weapon movies.
Yes.
So much. I don't see how this would be, like the Lethal Weapon 5 could be believable in any way, unless they're old men playing grandpas and they're mentoring people. Riggs!
I'm too old for this.
Riggs!
Like, literally, you are too old for this.
Right. So I think he's aged out of it. I mean, he's in amazing shape and he looks fantastic. I'm not denying that. And he could probably do more than 99% of men his age, probably 99 better than 90% of people in their 40s, certainly better than me without question. But I don't think it'd be believable for me. And if they came out with one, I'd just kind of sigh. Be like, oh.
I think if they had ended the movie any differently, we'd be critiquing it that it felt out of place.
I don't think I would have.
Just compared to all the other ones. Like if it was the last, not knowing 100% if it's the last one or not, if they had ended it differently, I think we would have been like, oh, that's a cop-out. Or, oh, they did it for this. Like, and unless they just made it super ultra clear and confirmed that there will not be another one. I'm kind of glad they ended it that way and left a little bit of a question. Because there's really not a question. Like, it felt very final, but it left room for there to be another if they wanted it to be. I don't know. I don't...
Or ended it like Ferris Bueller, where he's like, "No, this is it.
Yeah, go home."
Go home.
I don't know. I don't think they'll do another.
Why are you still here?
With how many things it tied into from the other films,
It just feels like the end.
It felt like a
I think
wrap
I'd be a
up.
little bit mad if they made another one, just because
Yeah.
this one felt so final.
Mhm.
But also, I'd go watch it.
You're giving them another chance.
Well, I reckon that's the final.
The last one's like Mission Impossible Life. That 9 to 5.
we got Ethan Hunt doing the Thanos thing in the garden.
Just action shots of him in traffic.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean,
He gets out and runs.
Yeah, that counts it. He didn't run as much as he used to.
I think there were only three scenes.
yeah.
And like 2 of them were within the same chapter of the movie, but they were totally different scenes. He was only doing
Yeah.
the Tom Cruise booking
Yeah.
it
The knife
3
run?
different times.
Yeah.
3 different
Yeah.
times. He didn't run very much.
He's getting old. But obviously, he's still fit.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Thank you for tuning in. As a recap, we gave this a 3.3 out of 5, so it's not bad. Some of us here loved it, some of us here not so much. But
Go see it because it's not a Marvel movie. Oh my god.
Yeah, go see
Yeah.
something other than Marvel. or
Please
DC.
tell studios that we're ready to see movies that are not superhero movies.
Also, would love some story-driven movies, not necessarily action movies. Yeah.
Well, what Corey said, Tom Cruise is a superhero, so technically.
Yeah, this
Oof.
kind of was a superhero movie.
I guess now he's a god. Apparently, he can survive anything.
He was limping.
He limped.
He's still a...
He had dirt in his face.
if you have not already, please subscribe to this channel on youtube.com/@EatSleepNerd. Leave a like on this video. Go watch the rest of our videos. Leave likes on those as well. If you've seen this movie, leave some comments down below. Let us know what you felt about this movie. Let us know what you disagree with about everything that we said here. There was a lot. There could be a lot. You could have hated everything we just said.
I can't wait to see the shorts that come out of this one.
And then, lastly, but certainly not least, please share this show with your friends and family over on social media.
Send it to your gran.
Jason.
What? This is your mission.
Thank you.
Should you choose to accept it. Eat, sleep, nerd.
Take it easy, people.